Hello and welcome. This is the first video that I'm posting for the beginning of my my YouTube journey with homesteading our property. So in this particular episode, I've got a project that we started here. Technically, we started it last year with my father going through and tilling up some land, getting it prepared for a tree line. And doesn't really focus on that at all because at the time I wasn't thinking about recording, wasn't thinking about doing anything YouTube wise, but kind of in the process of when I started going through and actually working on the tree line, when the ball was rolling on it, I wanted to say, you know what, why not hit record? Why not kick up a YouTube channel? So this is the first iteration. I know that there are issues, let's call it. Of course, quality issues. And so I just want to apologize. The framings on everything, I've got things in portrait and things in landscape. I'm still figuring a lot of these things out. I'm currently editing, all these things on my phone as I just was going through and editing, kind of doing some final touches on it. I went, holy crap. Why are things jumping back and forth between landscape and portrait? So I'm hoping in the future, videos, that won't be an issue. But I hope you enjoy the video. Stick around for a while. We've got a lot of projects down the pipeline, and eventually going through and actually building our forever home, which I know that's going to be a huge venture in and of itself. It's going to require a lot of recording and a lot of documentation of everything that we're doing. But thank you for swinging by. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello to the latest iteration of this goddamn farmhouse. Well, today's episode is actually about this goddamn tree line. We went through and tilled up all of that. This row's about 350 feet, and this one's about 420 feet, and they're each 100 foot wide. We've got five runs of fabric down each one, and went and I tilled it yesterday, and then my dad, my brother-in-law, my nephew came out and helped. And we laid down the fabric and went through and rolled the edges of them to keep them from blowing away. I'm going through and just doing some final touches on it. But all in all, I'd say a pretty productive weekend. We are currently lining all of the fabric, which we've got 5 rows of, which I believe I've already covered. If not, I will cover here momentarily. But we have got 5 different rows of all different kinds of trees that we're going to be planting here. We're getting the trees next Friday, and we wanted to go through and mark them all up so that way when I go through and I burn the holes in the fabric, I know exactly where to put them. Try to make this as efficient as possible for when the ball gets rolling on it. So I'll do a quick little walkthrough on where the trees are at, which rows are getting which trees, and we'll go from there. Alright, so this is our first row. It runs east-west, north-facing. We are doing Rocky Mountain junipers. We're spacing them at 6 feet apart. I know that down the road they say to space them at 12, but for a young tree line, I wanted to space them at 6, so that way everything starts kind of hitting a little bit closer. So I got a good young line to kind of keep the snowbank over the rest of it, and then once they start kind of going into each other, then I will go through and cut every other tree down. Got the same thing over here. This one is running north-south, and we've got it every 6 feet for the Rocky Mountain junipers. Second row, I've got a mixture of, I believe it was Juneberries and currants, which that's the second row here as well. Got those spaced every 4 feet because that's what they suggest for that. Figure another good dense line to kind of help buffer the snow. Next line is going to be our tallest lines. Those are going to be Siberian elms and honey locust trees. Fourth row is, I'm going to cut Okay, for the fourth row, we have got crabapple, apricot, and Russian olives. And then for the fifth row, we have got some plum trees, some cherry trees, and some lilacs. So I'm just going to keep on clipping along and mark up the rest of these lines. I've got 1.5 rows done so far, so I've got a little bit more to do. It's a totally different day now. It's actually been about a week or so since this last clip that you guys just saw. But went out and finally got all of our trees. I know like these ones are like the Toka Plum, the Pattern Pear, and can't remember what the other one is, but inside of these 2 boxes right here are the remainder of all of our trees. So just in that little pile right there, there's like over 470 trees. So I'm going to go through, going to get them watered down. I actually went through and burnt almost all the holes. My nephew came out yesterday and really helped out. He was hauling the propane tank on his 4-wheeler, and and I was just running through with the burner, just going through, burning all the holes. Just walking over the tree line right now to kind of show you what all we did here. But we've got the north belt, which has got runs east-west. Went through, drilled or did all the holes. Went through and I strung a line, and that made sure that it was good and straight, because the fabric that we laid down, we did not do that straight. We kind of followed my tilling line, which my tilling line was not straight, because I cannot drive in a straight line to save my life. But so I'm going to go through. I'm going to try a time lapse. I'm going to see how that works with this phone. I'm not quite sure how it'll work, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to set out all the trees, give them a little bit more water before we start planting. Here we go. So that was kind of the just a time lapse of us doing the first row on the first side, and I figured the rest of it would look a lot like that. So I figured instead of doing a time lapse that was like 20 minutes long, I'd save you guys the trouble. It looks a lot the same. A few more breaks were involved, but all in all, between that day, which was Saturday, and then today, which is currently Sunday, it's Sunday afternoon right now, about 7 o'clock. but we've got all the trees planted. All but 5. We've got some larger trees that we ended up having some mechanical issues with the tractor and the post hole digger, where we couldn't actually go through and get the holes done, which stunk. But at the same time, it pushed us to push through the rest of it, get the rest of them in, and then as soon as we finished up, we went through, gave everything a fresh bout of water, and then, well, as you can kind of see, it's a little, we got some weather. That cloud was over our head right about the time that we finished watering the trees. So we ended up having a really good run for all those. So another quick breakdown is not this one, but this one. This row all the way down, those are all Rocky Mountain junipers. This row right here is a mixture of Juneberries. What did I do? Juneberries and currants. Yep. This side was golden currants, and this side over here, this tree line, this one was black currants. Row number 1 was also the Rocky Mountain junipers on that one. Row number 3, which we just got planted up today, we went every other one. We went elm and honeysuckle. So because it's going to be the tallest line, you wanted something that was going to go kind of up, and then you have your tallest tree in the middle, and then back down. So we went that way for that row as well. Sorry, still kind of figuring this whole camera thing out. 4th row, that's when we started getting a little interesting. 4th row on our north side that runs east to west, which is this row right here, we went with, man, my brain is just not wanting to work. It's been a really long weekend. Okay, had a little bit of a brain fart there. But, okay, on the north wall, row number 4, this one right here, we went with a mixture of Russian olives and apricots. And then row 4 on this one, our east wall, which runs north to south, those we went with, we got some tall ones here. These ones are about 6 feet tall, give or take. Those are prairie fire crabapple trees. And then down the line from it, we've got toka plum and white lilac. And then in row 5 here, we started off with superior crabapple trees, and then beyond that we went with choke cherries and patent pears, which the patent pears, we got 1 tree in, and about halfway through the hole, that's when the post hole digger went out on the bobcat, so we only got 1 in. I've got 5 left. My dad said that he was going to try to work on his bobcat and get it up to snuff again, so that way we might be able to get them planted here throughout the week, and so that way I don't have to keep watering de-rooted trees or de-dirted trees. But then row 5 here on our north wall, we went with a mixture of common lilacs, buffalo berry, and sand cherry. We did them in groups of 8. So we went like 8 common lilac, 8 buffalo berry, 8 sand cherry, and then just repeated the cycle for, I think, 3 or 4 cycles. But then we've got about 8 more of these holes here in our northwest corner that I don't know how to measure, apparently. So I guess now I just need to think, what else do we need to put in there? Prime location. I mean, they're going to get full sun. And I've got about 40 feet, 40 linear feet that I can play with. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure we'll fill them up with something. If not this year, maybe next. We'll see. But this has been just kind of my first introductory video, my first shot at doing this. I have no idea how it's going to come out in post because I don't know how to edit things. But I'm still not even sure on what in the hell to even name this channel. I don't know. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I'm thinking maybe from field to farm, being as how we're taking this completely undeveloped chunk of land, I suppose, sorry, hold on, this completely undeveloped chunk of land and turning it into our homestead. So I think from field to farm is it's kind of sticking on me already. But I've got a lot of sun in the last 3 days between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think I might kind of kick back, relax, have a drink, and who knows, maybe even start editing this. So I'm kind of hoping that I kind of feel the drive to keep doing this kind of stuff. I mean, I've got a lot of projects at this place that I need to do. Like next weekend, maybe doing fixing up my daughter's swing, so that way she's got a place to hang out when she's outside. I've got a shed that could need rebuilt. I've got all sorts of projects that this land and everything on it needs. So until the next project happens, have a good one. One last note before I go. I was just thinking about it as soon as I hit stop. Huge thank you to my wife, my daughter, she came out and helped, my nephew, my dad, my brother-in-law. Without them coming out and helping, there's no way I would have come anywhere near this level of completion in the course of a few days. So all I can say is make sure that you've got a group of good people to surround yourself with, and you can accomplish a lot more stuff than you can on your own.